What's up, YouTube? You're Inside the Edge, and I'm back with another video. And today we're gonna get into some NBA basketball. Basketball season is approaching, and right now we already seen a lot of the young rookies in the summer league. I mean, I know a lot of teams are excited about a lot of the college players that they drafted, or just the players they drafted in general. This is gonna be a good NBA season. You know, this is probably gonna be the most anticipated season. We obviously know about Brooklyn and the Lakers. I mean, those are probably the two teams. It's almost like the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. Like, these are the two teams that were most likely, in the NFL sense, these are the two teams we're going to see in the Super Bowl. And in the finals, we're expecting to see Brooklyn and the Lakers. But, in between, I still think, in between those teams, I still think, the Bucks is still there. There's still a lot of teams that's gonna go for that title run, and the league is just gonna keep getting better. The league is just gonna keep adjusting. So today, guys, we're gonna get into John Wall. There's been a lot of reports saying John Wall, he's gonna go to this team, he's gonna go to the 76ers, or he can go to a man like the Bucks. But Woj, he did report that the Clippers are interested in Wall. So I don't know how that's gonna work, just because with Wall, I mean, I don't even really know where to start. I mean, I guess, I'm going to just start off with, what Wall, what did he average last year? Let's, put things into perspective real quick. But Wall, he averaged 20.6 points per game. He shot over 40% shooting. He averaged 6.9 assists, 3.2 rebounds, 1.1 steals per game. So, 20 and 6. Coming back from an Achilles injury, I would say, John Wall, he's still a solid player. I wouldn't say he's a number one player on a championship team, but I still think John Wall is a top tier, top three, top four tier, point guard. I still think he's an elite. And I would say he's elite. Not so much of his talent, but what he has within his mind of being a point guard. I think, John Wall, he's a player that's been a multiple all-star. This is a guy that played in the playoffs. He was a leader of his team. He was a franchise player at some point. So, John Wall, we have to really understand his value, and just looking at what we've seen from last year, I didn't really watch too much of the Rockets play. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. But looking at from the highlights of what I've seen from John Wall and just looking at his statistics, I still think John Wall can be a top point guard in the league. Maybe top 12, maybe top 15. But I do think John Wall can contribute a lot to an NBA team. Now, the biggest problem with his contract, and Woj is even saying that this trade is kind of untradeable, just because of whatever team that puts up an offer, you're gonna be paying him 40 mil for the next 2 years, and that's a lot of money on the table. So I would say the biggest thing, if Wall was to get traded, it will have to be some type of blockbuster deal, some deal with a team where it's going to be 3-player option, and it's going to be something where the contracts can swap out, where it'll be in a mutual agreement on the contracts and how much money is being spent. It has to be something like that, because I'm seeing a lot of reports saying that John Wall can go to the 76ers. I'm hearing the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm even hearing about him going to the Mavs. But you also have to understand, because it's easy to say John Wall could fit with this team because of his talent and this and that. But the NBA is a business, and I think it's just going to be really hard for a team to say, hey, John Wall, I just feel like it's all about what is the team looking for. Because if you ask me what he's doing I think John Wall fits with the Rockets. I think he's a good fit for the Rockets. But the Rockets, they want to go a new direction. So that's why they're letting go of Wall. They feel like Kevin Porter's on the rise, Christian Wood is on the rise, and they want to make him a star. So they already have other guys that they're looking to, build, and they're really looking for the future. This Houston team did a 180. 3 years ago, they were competing for an NBA championship, and now they're in rebuild, and it's just been an absurd thing with this franchise. I think they try to buy a championship, they say, and it didn't work out. So right now they're just going into the rebuilding stage. So that's why John Wall is, and just the organization itself decided to part ways. I believe John Wall, he's not even gonna. If Wall doesn't get traded before the season, Wall will not be playing in this season with the Houston Rockets. I don't even think he's even gonna suit up or anything. I just think he's not even gonna show up. So there's a lot of money on the table, and I think that's really what's going on with John Wall. But if you ask me, looking at what John Wall, what he did last year, I still think he still has his speed. He still has his agility. You know, he can still get to the rim. You know, I like how he always does this thing where he's dribbling. He's been doing it since high school, but, you know, he puts the ball in between, like, you know, he does like a whole rope around, and he can finish with a layup or a dunk. Like, he's still crafty. He can still drive to the lane. He still has strength. You know, I still see a lot of that in John Wall. I don't think he declined in any way. You know, him rehabbing, because, you know, when your Achilles, man, I mean, there's some players that come back, and then there's a lot of players that don't. But, like, come to mind, I know Rudy Gay, he came back from an Achilles. Kobe, even though Kobe didn't come back the same, but he came back. And even DeMarcus Cousins, he's playing for Houston right now, and he messed up his Achilles as well, but he's still playing. So, you know, John Wall, I think he put in a lot of hard work to get to where he's at. And, you know, he actually had a difficult year because, you know, you got to think about, like, even just John Wall, his story is crazy. You know, he got off of that multi-million-dollar contract, I believe 4 years ago. Then he ends up, you know, tearing his Achilles. And then, you know, he ends up losing his mom. And throughout that time period, you know, he lost his mom. And, you know, losing a parent is tough. And, you know, John Wall just has a lot of, like, ups and downs. But I truly believe, like, you know, he's still a good point guard. He can still bring a lot to a team, you know, because he's a veteran. I do think he makes the people around him better. You know, I think John Wall is very passive. I think he does like to give people shine. So I think he can give that to a young team. You know, he can be that player coach to get guys going. I think he does have leadership, and I think a lot of guys do respect John Wall. Because a lot of these players coming in, they watch John Wall growing up. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how we're in a new era. I mean, John Wall, he's only 31 years of age, and there's kids coming in, and they're, like, looking up to him. So, you know, with John Wall, to be honest, guys, I can't even give you an answer to where John Wall can be traded. I mean, like I said, it's just going to be something where if John Wall does get traded, that team is going to have to be some type of blockbuster deal, maybe a 3-player trade or maybe a 3-team trade. It's going to be a huge blockbuster. But again, you know, for the next 2 years, man, $40 million, that's insane. It's almost something that Houston did with Chris Paul. It was almost the same thing with Chris Paul. So this is almost the same scenario. But good thing Chris Paul, you know, he got his shot and he got up out of there and he went to Phoenix. So I think, you know, with John Wall, man, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes because of that contract. That's the only thing, you know, and I think you know, there's people that's already, you know, and let's be honest, I don't want to say this, but, you know, like, about who's worth what, but $80 million for the next 2 years, I mean, I don't think teams are going to value that. So until next time, guys, I just want to give you guys my opinion. I didn't want to make this video too long, but I want to hear your guys' opinion on John Wall and where do you see him going? Do you even think he's even going to get traded heading into the season? Because if you ask me, I think he's going to get traded, but I think he's going to get traded while the season is already kicking off. But I could be wrong. But until next time, guys, I'm going to be doing a lot of NBA content. NBA season is coming up. Subscribe to the channel. If you're a football fan, I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on that. You know, I'm going to just drop a lot of content. And yeah, guys, subscribe if you're new to this video. If you're new to this channel, subscribe. And I've got you guys with a lot of content. Have a good day, guys. Make good decisions and listen to your parents. Have a good day, guys. God bless.